In a world where kingdoms fall and stars still remember names, this song was forged from magic memory and the dream that refused to die. Welcome to a tale where wonder still breathes.
This story is entitled The Anniversary Song. One guitar, three vows, one eternal love for my Wheein, created by Pacampara.
If this tale stirred something in you, a memory, a dream, or a truth, our Ko-fi, Amazon, and Patreon links are in the description. Support helps us keep writing for you and the ones you hold dear.
Opening poem. It isn't the stars, it isn't the sky, it isn't the flame where candles lie. It is the silence we fill with the trembling bow. It's the way your eyes still hold me now. No choir to sing, no bells overhead, just whispers of love in the words we said. If I falter, if my voice grows small, it's your hand in mine that answers all. More than a touch, more than a kiss. It's the quiet nights and the days like this, when the world forgets, when the shadows fall. You are my song, my one, my all. I don't need the world, I don't need the crowd, I don't need a stage or a praise out loud. Just this room, just this breath, your tears and your face. Love is complete in your embrace. If the years grow heavy, if time feels long, still I'll carry you in every song. Every promise we've made, I'll keep it true, for my very chord is about you. So take this tonight, just one small tune, born from our hearts under the listening moon. One song, one love, forever will be. Your voice is in mine in eternity. The night hung quiet over the house. The veil lingers after the bride has already walked past the altar. Soft lamplight breathed against the wooden beams, trembling faintly when the wind leaned through the open window. Outside, the garden held its hush, jasmine tilting like candles in a forgotten vigil, while the moon carved silver across the tiled floor. The house itself seemed alive, groaning softly when the wood settled. Each a creak, a memory folded into its ribs. If one listened closely enough, one could almost hear the echo of old hymns whispered by the walls, remnants of vows once spoken within them. Jess sat with his guitar balanced across his lap, his fingers resting on the strings as though they were fragile bones of some small bird. His chest rose and fell uneven. He had sung to them before, clumsy and self-conscious. He still remembered the first time. Of how he strummed too fast, his voice cracking midline, and Wheein had burst out laughing so hard she nearly tipped off her chair, while Byul teased him mercilessly and Yong smiled, soft and knowing as if she already believed his fumbling was enough. Tonight that memory hovered around him, sharpening the quiet, pressing his lungs. Would one song ever be enough? Would it carry the weight of years, the gravity of promises that had been sealed in a church no larger than this house? Wheein was curled against the arm of the sofa, her laughter spent for the day, her face softened by the warmth of wine and memory. Byul leaned at the door frame, her shadow cutting across the light, watching with that familiar half smile that always made every silence feel like a conversation. Yongsun, Yong was seated on the floor, back against the couch, her dress folded like a rose around her head, tilted slightly as though listening to a melody only she could hear. They were not dressed for ceremony, not crowned in flowers or veiled in silk. It was them, bare, ordinary, and truer for it. Just cleared his throat, almost shy, and the women stilled. "It's nothing grand," he said, his voice uneven, his eyes finding theirs one by one. "I just thought we didn't need fanfare. We never did. Just one song for one love. The first chord slipped out warm and low. The hush made the whole room lean toward it. His voice followed soft as a prayer, trembling at first, then steadying like a candle flame, learning how to stand against the dark. Each note carried the weight of years, the laughter in crowded kitchens, the half-fights mended by late-night whispers, the mornings where the world was still being built around them and all they had was faith. The lyrics weren't dressed in poetry. They were simple words, the kind you say when folding laundry or while waiting for rice to finish cooking. But in his voice they became vows renewed, stitched into melody. And suddenly as the song filled the room, the house seemed to remember. The guitar's low hum became the tolling of unseen bells in Wheein's mind. She was back in that moment. The house church, no stained glass or organ, only sunlight bent through the open window and the fragrance of flowers they had plucked from the garden that morning. Her hands had still smelled of earth when she had clutched the bouquet. Jess's hands had trembled when he slid the ring onto her finger. She had whispered through her tears, "Even if the world forgets us, I will not." She remembered how his lips quivered when he answered, and then let the world forget. "I will remember for both of us." The memory made her throat tighten and she pressed her palm against her chest as the song's chord pulled her back to the present. Byul closed her eyes, letting the music press into her ribs. She remembered the awkward pause in their vows when Jess had stumbled on the words. She had looked up at her, lost, and muttered something that wasn't part of the script. "I don't need the praised words. I only need you to believe me." She had chuckled then, biting back tears, and whispered, "I do, you idiot." The whole room had laughed, the priest shaking his head fondly and the floorboards creaking with mirror. Now hearing his voice so steady, she felt again the pull that had claimed her that day. The moment she realized his voice wasn't polished, but it was true, and it was hers. Young tilted her head, her eyes shimmering with lamplight. She remembered standing in that same house, her own vows spoken with trembling breath. "Time will weather us, but it will not break us. Even if the years make us weary, let them also make us whole." Jess had reached for her then, his hand pressing against hers with a fervor that nearly broke her heart, whispering back, "Then let me spend the season proving it." Tonight, as the guitar filled the silence, she traced the years since, marveling at how true those words had become. When Jess sang the chorus again, his eyes lifted not to the ceiling beams or the darkening window, but to them. "No matter how the world bends us, one song and one love, and I am yours still." His voice cracked there, but it only made the truth in it more unbearable. He wondered in that instant if they had heard the fullness of his fear, the fear that he could never repay them for what they had given him, and that his words would always be too small for the vastness of his devotion. The guitar thrummed on, each string a heartbeat in wood. The crickets outside seemed to play along, their chirps like faint percussion carried by the breeze. Somewhere in the rafters, the house gave a sigh, as if it had to say it too had been borne witness to everything that had brought them here. Silence, and then a sound so soft it seemed to rise from the floorboards themselves. Wheein's quiet sob. She covered her mouth with one hand, tears slipping through her fingers, her eyes reflecting the lamplight like small oceans. "You," she tried, but the world collapsed into a laugh and the cry woven together. "You always know how to undo me." Byul crossed the room, her steps noiseless but heavy with the weight of 100 unspoken gratitudes. She rested her hand on Jess's shoulder, squeezing just enough to let him know she understood, that she had heard more than a song. She had heard their story, their promise, and their survival. Young did not move at first. She simply looked up at him, eyes shining, her lips parting as if she might sing back the notes he had given. But no words came, only her hand reaching out, fingertips brushing his knee in the smallest, most intimate of gestures. That was her answer, one touch heavy with lifetimes. Jess smiled faintly, his throat tight. Happy anniversary, he murmured, not trusting himself with more. The lamp flickered, as though the room itself exhaled outside. The jasmine bowed, their white hands in the moonlight, and in the stillness the song remained, not in the air, but in the guitar's fading strings, but in the hearts that lasted and listened, broken open and mended once more. The night ended the way the songs do, not with thunder, but with a hush, the guitar resting silent on his lap, the lamplight thinning into the edges of dawn. The women had fallen into the soft comfort of sleep, their breath sweeping with the same sound of crickets in the wood's old sighs. Jess sat awake, pen in hand, a stack of small ivory cards before him. His heart was still full of music, but his hand sought words, clumsy, fragile yet his own. On the first card for Wheein he wrote, "To my laughing wind, you remind me that vows are not only solemn, they are playful too. Every time I hear you laugh, I remember that our love began with joy. Even my mistakes, my cracked notes, you turned into music. So here another vow, I will never let the days grow silent. For your laughter's the chorus I want to live inside." He laid the card aside, pressing it gently as though sealing the memory of her smile into the paper. On the second for Byul, the ink moved slower, heavier, as if her gaze was already on him, sharp and knowing. "To my starlight muse, you saw me when my voice was unsure, and you believed anyway. Your teasing has always been sharper than the truth, but it hid the care I needed. You are the iron that steadies me, the song that doesn't waver. If my voice fails, let my silence still carry the weight of my devotion. You are my verse written in the night sky." He paused, the ink drying under his thumb before tucking it carefully inside. On the last for Yong, his hand shook the most. The words refused to fit inside the neat lines, but he let them spill anyway. "To my eternal maiden, you were the first to hear the song behind my silence. Time has weathered us, but not once have I felt less whole. You are the vow I never stop making, the season that never leaves. If one song, one love is all that I can give, then know that it has always been and only been you." He left the cards on the table, each resting like a prayer folded in paper, waiting to be found. When the morning light touched the room, outside the jasmine nodded in the wind, as though bowing their heads to this final benediction. And when Jess finally allowed to sleep to take him, it was with certainty that the song, the vows and the cards, all of it, would remain long after the guitar had fallen quiet.
I create these stories, poems and little worlds each day for my beloved Wheein. If they bring you comfort or a smile too, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to join us on this little journey.